And as a reminder, Manooch writes the questions. Now here's ABC 15's Craig Fouhy.
How we doing today, Fouhy?
I am doing well, fellas. Just got back to the office from Cardinals in Tempe. We had Colin Harmon out at Arizona State. It's a busy Monday.
Always. Mondays, yeah. but you live for Mondays, right? It's a motivational Monday. Motivational.
Well, listen, I spent 3 days up at Camp Town, Arizona, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That was a lot of fun. A big crowd Saturday morning up there, probably 1,500, 2,000 people come out to see the Devils practice in the cool pines. So it was nice.
I know. I tried reaching out. You didn't call me back. I was calling you like 10 times. I'm like, are you going to work on getting some Wi-Fi up there for us?
Yeah, I know. That's the toughest part, man. They brought their they brought the ASU Wi-Fi up there for some of the players. When we got intermittent kind of stuff, it was okay Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday it didn't work at all. So, yeah.
It's such a beautiful setting, though, isn't it?
Awesome.
It's
gorgeous.
Don't you wish the Cardinals were still up in flag, too?
I do. Yes.
Yeah. We all had, I think, it was more for the media, and I think than anyone else. Is to go
we had unprecedented access, right? Yeah. We had access to the guys in the morning, at lunchtime, in the afternoon. I could get a guy on live television with me in the evening. I mean, it was crazy. It was like all day long, practice in the morning, practice in the afternoon, grab a guy at lunch. I mean, it was great access. It was crazy. It was 85 degrees, 90 degrees.
Yeah, what's great is this is what the fans want. That's what I think some people don't realize. You know, what you guys do for a living is to bring the players to us, the viewer. And it's unfortunate that the business has changed so much that you don't get the access that you deserve. It's just frustrating. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be difficult just to line the ones you do have together. I mean, you got to probably go through so much just to get it done.
Well, you do, and now we're getting notes. You know, the email will say select players after practice, and it's like the team chooses the players, right? So you don't even get that. You have to put a request in at least 24 hours in advance, and if they decide to do it, they'll try to set. I mean, it's way different than it used to be for sure.
Fouhy, do they bring that player to your broadcast location, or do you have so you have to have a runner and go get them, right?
No, it's just we meet them where they are. We don't have. Okay. I mean, back in the day, the guy would walk out to our set, out there in Flagstaff or wherever we were, and it was awesome, right? And now it's way different. We go to them, and if it fits their schedule, they'll do it.
Yeah, because Manooch should be looking for you, right? I mean, like, hey, dude, put me on TV. Manooch, Fouhy, put me on TV, please.
Usually we have the kickers and punters. Yeah.
And then Manooch.
Don't forget the holders, Fouhy. Hey, get those laces today. Coach, why do you think it's like that nowadays? We get Bob McMahon on every Tuesday, and I can tell the frustration in his voice. I can hear in your voice. Why is it so antiquated like this nowadays?
It's just changed. Listen, COVID changed everything, right? They locked us out of the locker room, and who's going to go back after that happens, right? Yeah. It's like when a bank stops paying you interest on your checking account or savings account. Well, guess what? It ain't ever coming back. It's like we all accepted it. Remember, it's an ATM charge. Oh, I'm going to use the ATM. They're going to charge me for that too. I mean, we all accept all this stuff that happens, right? It just kind of happens, and then it doesn't come back. And I get right now, the Cardinals just moved back to Tempe, right at headquarters. They got 90 guys on the roster, so they're not going to let us in the locker room at this point because there's too damn many guys in there, right? But hopefully when the season, after the cuts come down here, and there's 53 guys plus the practice squad, we'll get back in the locker room.
Coach, so
I'm always way different.
I'm always available if you want to talk about quarterbacks.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, anytime, Coach. Especially for you, Coach.
I appreciate it. Just don't talk about being under center with me. Just don't go there.
All right, it's Factor Fouhy. We do it every Monday with ABC 15's Craig Fouhy. All right, we'll start with DBacks. As the DBacks series win over the Padres has ended their slump. And the question is, will that get them back on track to make a wild card spot? Fact or Fouhy? Because the slump is over, this will get him a wild card spot. Fact or Fouhy?
Fouhy on that. No, the slump is not over. They're 12.5 games back of the Dodgers. I mean, it was a nice series win over the weekend. I appreciate 25th anniversary celebration. Over 60 former athletes in town, former players, but they're back in the wild card even. So I would hope that it would give them a little excitement about this, but we're they're 59-59 right now, sitting at 500. it's not in a good position to be in. I mean, I hope. I'm always a positive guy, right? I'm optimist. I hope they do, but I don't see it happening.
All right, Coach, question number 2. Cardinals fans saw that David Blau will be the backup to Colt McCoy for now because of his poise and ability with the final drive of the game. Fact or Fouhy?
Fouhy on that. Sorry, folks. Sorry. Colt McCoy and then Clayton Tune. Colt McCoy, Clayton Tune. When Kyler comes back, Kyler, Colt, Clayton. And maybe reverse that. Maybe Kyler, Clayton, Colt.
And just kind of put David Blau on notice if the other two go down for his experience. That'd be my only hesitation. And I know that you got Tune drafted in the 5th round from the political side of things.
Yes, but it's not even that. It's if you watch Clayton Tune. Of course, I've been out at practices and watched him play. He's got poise. He's gotten reps with the 1s, a lot of reps with the 2s. David Blau drove the team down 4s against 4s, right? I mean, it wasn't like he's going against the Broncos' number 1 defense. It was a great finish for the Cardinals, but I see Clayton Tune as the guy they're going to put all their stock in going forward.
All right. Before I ask the next question, I remind everybody that Manuch writes the questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate that coming from you.
Arizona Cardinals 18-17 preseason comeback win was a big boost in changing the culture and future of this team. Fact or Fouhy? Manuch writes the questions.
I see it happening. I see it happening. Coach.
Over. I got so tired of all the underhanded slaps and knocks on Cliff Kingsbury during the broadcast Friday night. It was just like so frustrating. It's like, the team president saying we've got accountability back. It was like, you hired the other coach. If you didn't have accountability, why didn't you fire him after 2 years? Why are we talking about this stuff right now? Right. And it just was continually mentioned throughout the game for this was missing and we got this back and we got that back. It's like, just stop. Listen, it's a first-year coaching staff with a first-year head coach, a first-year coordinator on offense, a first-year defensive coordinator, a whole bunch of new guys on the squad. It was a nice win at home. It was a great way for Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon to start the thing. I mean, is there a culture change? Probably, because you got 2 different head coaches. So is it for the better? I don't know. We'll find out. I was here when the Dave McGinnis teams were going 4-0 in the preseason, then going 4-12 in the regular season. So let's not count the chickens before they've hatched here, right? Let's not put the cart before the horse.
Coach, you and I were doing those broadcasts back in those days. Go, wow, this.
Yes, we were.
Yeah,
4-0. Yes, we were. We were around for those, Manuch, and you remember this is nothing to do yet. It's a new coaching staff. Guys react differently, right? They're trying to figure out each other. And this will happen now, and then we'll see what happens when the regular season settles in.
All right, talk some Devils with head coach Kenny Dillingham.
Ooh,
yes. Is Coach Dillingham re-engaging the Sun Devil fan base by having camp at Camp Tonazona? Fact or Fouhy?
Well, listen, I will say this. I will say fact because there was probably
3 minutes,
100 or 200 people up there Thursday, and then again Friday. And then Saturday there was a couple thousand, right? It's hard to guess up there because it's so crowded. You don't know how many people actually get in. But I will say this: they shut down the 260 north and redirected northbound traffic onto the southbound lane. So it was 1 lane going north, 1 lane going south, so they could use a couple miles for parking for Camp T Saturday. It was impressive, and I think everybody we talked to, we spent probably 45 minutes with the fans, and everybody we talked to loved having them back up to Tonazona. They all talk about the glory days, and Frank Kush, having the players pick rocks up off the field, and the days it flooded and they couldn't practice, and people love it up there, right? And so I think that was a good move by him to get back up there. I think the players really enjoyed it, and he did more than just football. They got into some Olympic games, right? They had dodgeball and ping pong and different games. They had a scavenger hunt. They did things as a group that were not
2 minutes
camaraderie with the guys and chemistry. And they divided the teams up into different ages, different positions, offense, defense. So it wasn't just all offensive linemen, all running backs. It was all different groups of guys. I think it was a really good step for him to get this team moving forward.
All right, Coach, last question. Suns owner Matt Ishbia is doing the right thing by putting Amari Stoudemire and Sean Marion into the Ring of Honor. Fact or Fouhy?
That's a fact. They deserve it. They deserve to be there, right? Those were the glory days. I mean, they had some great runs with Mike D'Antoni, with Sean Marion and Amari Stoudemire. Those guys were solid. Steve Nash. obviously. Those guys they were great teams, and they played really well. And barring a couple of key injuries, they probably would have made it to the NBA Finals at least once.
That's it. That's all we get with Fouhy.
Did I lose you? Did I lose you?
Well, that pregnant pause is always good in radio. Yeah.
Well, and furthermore,
1 minute.
Hey, Fouhy,
put all your money into plastics, fellas. Plastics. That's where
there you go. So it's your belief that if Steve Nash doesn't get kicked into the bench and gets hurt, that they would have been a championship quality team.
Yeah, and the injuries to other guys, key players, right? There were some other key injuries that happened.
Joe Johnson.
Joe Johnson's orbital
that was a big one. That was
injury, right? Right before. Yeah, that was huge. And so there's some things that happened. Obviously, the Stoudemire and Boris Diaw suspension because they came off the bench, even though the guys from the Spurs were coming off the bench, but that was okay because, they're playing in San Antonio. I mean, all that stuff. And you guys know how this goes. The ball has to bounce your way. The calls have to be made right. I mean, everything has to fall in place for you to make it. But there were just some key things that happened there that it just didn't roll the Suns' way in that era. So disappointing.
Fouhy, thank you, buddy. Have a good week. Appreciate your time.
Always, fellas. Always. We're on the run. Appreciate you.
You got it. ABC 15.